Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Standley with Standley Handcrafted, and I know the next video I said was going to be something along the lines of the farmer's market video, and that one is coming. I'm going to be doing the checklist video next, but I wanted to get in here and talk about some news that kind of came up in the groups today, and that is the fact that Wick Co is now selling at Michael's. Now, I'm not exactly sure when this kind of happened. I just saw it today for the first time and had no idea. I do get alerts from the Wick. I'm signed up on their email and everything like that, so I don't know that they made like any big announcement or anything like that. I just started to see it pop up in the groups, and I figured I would just come on, make a video about that, and kind of just jump on the topic that is definitely coming up a lot lately, and that is candle business and the candle supplies, candle making, DIY, everything like that has definitely expanded over the last year or even 2 years. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a little bit, or if you are in the Facebook groups or anything like that, and again, I've got links to the Facebook group down in the video description down below. If you've been in the group for longer than a year, you've definitely seen the kind of trajectory or the need and the want from people to start making candles definitely jump up within the last year, and absolutely over the last 2 years. And that's definitely happened with more people staying at home, especially for the first year. Last year, everybody was staying at home. There was a lot of people, jobs were kind of uncertain, extra money was kind of uncertain, and candle business and candle making was just one of those areas that people jumped into, among with 1,000 others. From soap making to just any kind of business at home, a lot of people started to look for things that were kind of not really easy to do, but some things that you could still do at home and make that extra money. And of course, the one that means the most to us watching this channel in the group is candle making. So it's definitely not surprising to see Wick jump to another retailer like this and basically expand their business a little bit more. Now, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one just because I don't know enough detail on this one to really speak at length about it. I just saw the news pop up. I thought it was really interesting. And of course, going back and forth between the couple groups that I'm in, the thoughts on this one were definitely all over the place. And again, speaking on this one, I don't know too much about it, so I'll let Wick kind of talk about that announcement. Now, again, with that one, I don't know too much about the details on this one or anything like that. I just saw, if you go to Michael's right now, you can see that most of the Wick supplies are on Michael's now, which is definitely, if you're going to Michael's, a good thing if you're a customer there, because I hate to say it, but the supplies that were at Michael's before were really kind of subpar in my opinion. And having the Wick Co supplies in Michael's now is definitely a step above anything that was there before, from the waxes to the oils, their wicks or anything like that. This is definitely a much better product that's at Michael's. I've used Wick for years now, and I've always had great luck with everything that they sell. But going back to the group and the thoughts on this one and kind of the conversations going back and forth, it's really up in the air on whether people think that is a good thing or a bad thing. And again, that is really up to the person who is using these supplies and who's going to be going out there and shopping at Michael's. And also browsing Michael's website today, just looking at everything that was on there, I noticed that Brambleberry was also on there, and I had no idea. I'm going to have to look that one up. I didn't even bother to look it up earlier. Brambleberry is another great company that does a lot of soap products, but they also do candle making as well, and another company that I've used for years. And I didn't really go through Michael's to see how much that Brambleberry actually had on there, but I did see their oils, which are incredible oils. So that's two very well-known companies that are starting to hit kind of some of the bigger big box stores or retail stores. And I think that's kind of where the bigger discussion came from in the groups. And these products are now open to kind of a wider audience. And these are definitely products that I would put both Brambleberry and Wick into a little bit more of a niche side. Not so much Brambleberry with soap or anything like that, but their oils and some of their stuff for candles is definitely a little bit more niche. It's a little bit more upscale or upper scale as far as like the branding and everything that they've created, and along with Wick as well. Their oils, their waxes, their wicks, and anything like that is definitely on kind of the nicer scale if you're going to go into kind of any candle supplies that are out there. So, and anybody watching the channel or that's been making candles for a little while would probably agree with that. When you're going from like a Candle Science to a Nature's Garden, Lone Star, anything like that, and on up to something like Brambleberry or Wick, it's definitely in a little bit more, or a little bit different category. And having that kind of status and brand recognition is where people kind of became polarized when it came to the discussion or the thoughts on that deal. And I guess that's where I kind of wanted to make this video and get people's thoughts on that one. Is this something that you want to see? Is it something that you like to see? Because as with anything that you do, you definitely want to see it expand, which again, going back earlier to what I said with candle making and DIY, candle making kind of making a big jump over the last couple of years, it's definitely been, I think, a good thing in some areas just because there are a lot more suppliers kind of opening up. There are some newer suppliers bringing in some much nicer and much needed vessels that were just not in the candle making supply chain even just a couple years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, you definitely couldn't get some of the vessels and some of the nicer vessels that you can get now. I know when I first started making candles, even just 5-6 years ago, there were some nice vessels out there, but you really had to search for them, you really had to pay for them, and the stuff that was really widely available were things like the jelly jar, the 9-ounce straight jar, just like some of the basic tumblers. That stuff you could get pretty much anywhere. And what's happened over the last couple of years is you're starting to see a lot more tin, metal, concrete, ceramics. You're starting to see some really nice glass stuff. If you watch any of my videos, stuff coming from like 16, 17 has popped up in the last couple of years, and they're doing incredible stuff. And of course, myself with West Sound Candle Supply, I'm now jumping on that one, bringing in what I think are some of the nicest metal tins that are out there, or metal vessels. They're not even tins, they're metal vessels, and kind of getting up into a much nicer line of tin or metal if you're going to go that route. But having all that stuff come in is kind of a double-edged sword. It's really nice on one hand because you finally have, and this is where I'm going to tie this back into the wooden wick deal, going into Michael's and potentially other stores and potentially other candle supply companies out there, going into other stores, maybe Hobby Lobby, Walmart, anything like that. This is where the double-edged sword comes in, and it does in fact expand the candle business, which we love. It brings in new products, but you're also bringing in new people that are making candles. And I think that's where a lot of people get worried. They start to worry about the oversaturation. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I'm not worried about oversaturation at all. And I was watching a podcast earlier with Roberto Blake, and he was talking about oversaturation, and he made the good comment, incredible comment actually, about, is it an oversaturation of quality though? And that's where you can really set yourself apart. The people really taking this to the next level aren't going to really worry about somebody coming in and making another candle in a jelly jar. Hell, I still make candles in a jelly jar, and I'm not worried about new candle makers coming in and doing that, just because I know myself what I'm going to do to put that jelly jar out there and to sell it while somebody else is still figuring out what to do with theirs. And I hate to say it, but as with any new business and anybody, and if you've been in the group or watching the videos for a little bit, especially if you're in the Facebook groups, you've seen a lot of people come in, a lot of new people come in, but you've also seen a lot of those new people kind of fall off. They come in and they make candles for a little bit, find out maybe it's not for them, or they just didn't have the success that they wanted with it, or they were just playing around and just making candles for their own need at home, and they're done with it and they kind of fall off, or they get out of the groups and they stop making it. And I guess that's kind of where I'll leave this video, is kind of up to you guys. What do you think about candle companies out there expanding and moving into larger markets, basically getting into kind of a new demographic of hobbyist or DIYer that's going to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Walmart to kind of get this stuff, or even look at it and touch it for the first time? Like I said, the groups were kind of split on this one. It was on both sides, good and bad. I can definitely see both sides about it. That's why I kind of didn't want to touch too much on my personal thoughts on this one, just because, again, I don't know too much about it. I just thought it was like a really big move. And I think it's also something that a lot more candle companies are going to start to do. So is that something, as a DIY candle maker or a professional candle maker, you have a business, is this something that you want to see more of? And do you think it's going to help or hurt your business or the hobby? So please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We'll go through. I want to do a follow-up video to this one, especially after I get everyone's thoughts in the comment section down below, and definitely on the Facebook group. And it might even possibly do like an actual live with this one. And of course, bring a bunch of other topics into the live as well. But again, I'll leave it with that one. What do you guys think about the deal? And the next video that I'm going to be doing is the farmer's market checklist. That was definitely the one thing that people wanted to see the most out of the last video. So I'm working on that one, putting it together, and I'm going to have that list available on the website at westsoundcandlesupply.com. And it's going to be under the Learn section. So it's not there yet. I'm still putting it together, but once I release that next video, I'll have that checklist on the website so that people can go either watch the video or go to the website and just download the checklist. So that's pretty much it with this one. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification if you want to know when that farmer's market video comes out. And of course, we'll see you in the next video.